Hello, it's Reverend Kristen here. Excited to be with you. Today is October 16th, and this whole month we've been talking about relationships, and how 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 relationships are in our lives, how our relationship is with our internal selves, our spiritual selves, and how that can continue to be helped to grow into something even more beautiful than it is, and how when we work on ourselves, that shines out and shines and illuminates others. So we're here. Science of Mind is a teaching. So we are constantly, continuously seeking. We're seekers of spirituality and what's out there. And a lot of the time, Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, he talked about law a lot, and he talked about love a little. And later in his life, he is recorded somewhere saying, he wished he talked more about love. So before we dive into the relationship portion, I want to read to you from a little book called The Journey into Life. Journey into Life, written by Ernest Holmes. And he gives a section on the law and a section on love. And it's pretty concise. And so we all have a reference of what the law is and love. So here we go on law. It's page 54 and 55. The universe is eternally just. The law of life compels that action and reaction equal each other. Our own act is our judge. Nothing else could be, nothing else need be. Therefore, we are ourselves heaven and hell. We are a servant of what we obey. The law serves us and then compels us to serve it. It is at once love and hate, freedom and bondage, because of itself, it is one law ready to create any form. God does not punish the mathematician who fails to find the right answer to his problem. This unsolved problem punishes his own until he secures the desired result. Thus, sin and punishment, righteousness and salvation are but logical reactions of a universe of law to the life of the individual. If we are dealing with a power which actually makes things out of itself, by itself, becoming and taking form of the thing that it makes, and if this power is spirit, then we can easily see that the word of God is the law of God. The word of God is a conscious act. The law of God is a mechanical reaction. Because the law reflects the exact images of thought we think into it and has no other choice in the matter, then it follows that no matter what the law now be maintaining as being true about us, through a new process of thinking, we may so completely change its action as to alter the experience. One cannot use the creative law of mind most effectively without using it consistently and persistently, and very simply accepting, as every scientific mind must accept, the fact that principles do not change or alter their course to suit our convenience. We are subject to them. They are not subject to us. Yes, that is the law. The law. So what we think, we actually manifest and create. So if we are being just grumpy over and over and over again, and life is dark and dusty, and I have no friends, and I have no means, and on and on and on and on, that is what we're going to get in our life. But if we actively, and as Ernest Holmes uses the word persistently, engage and work within the law, we can change our lives. Okay, so that is law. Here is love, page 58 and 59. Love is the great reality. Hate, the great negation. Perfect love casts out fear. As the sun dissolves darkness, so love conquers hate. We are not to flee the wrath to come, but to perceive the love that is. Love is a self-surrender which, instead of depriving, fulfills. Thus it is written that love is the fulfillment of the law. Love will find the solution within itself to every problem, will answer every question. It is the lodestone of life, the center of reality, the heart of the universe, and will ultimately win and vanquish every foe. Hate destroys until love heals, for love is greater than hate. And finally, love is triumphant, and all the misunderstandings of hate are consumed in its divine passion, its universal flame. Love is the victor in every case. Love breaks down the iron bars of thought, shatters the walls of false beliefs, severs the chains of bondage which thought has imposed, and sets the captive free. If one makes himself receptive to the idea of love, he becomes lovable. To the degree that he embodies love, he is loved, so people who love are loved. Divine love interprets itself to everyone who knows love, comes to everyone who senses love, impersonates itself in forms which are human, in experiences which are divine. The only man who knows anything about love is the man who loves. Every act of human affection and love, of generous giving and receiving, of kindly relations with others is an extension of the spirit of life flowing through us. Life is a great giver, and each of us is a distributor. Love is the answer. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Okay. So love and law, we now have an understanding or a revisit to the meaning and how it works at a very high level. So as for relationships this week, the talk title is called Clean Up on Aisle 3. And clean up on aisle 3, when that phrase comes to mind, is there's a big mess in the supermarket that needs to be cleaned up. And if we leave it there, so if we break a jar of spaghetti sauce and we just leave it and we scurry down the aisle so nobody catches us, there is a possibility that someone coming behind you may slip and hurt themselves. So what most of us do is call, and then over the microphone, somebody will say, clean up aisle 3. And they come over with their mop and clean up the shard glass, the goopy spaghetti sauce that's gone up and through everything. And some relationships, think about the relationships that you've had throughout your life. And has there been ever, have you ever had a relationship where it's been like an exploded bottle of pasta sauce? messy, messy, messy. And the first thing that I used to want to do was just run. So do that same thing of, oh, I broke the bottle. Oh, I just created this huge mess. And I'll use divorce as an example. During divorce, some divorces, there's many things that are said that aren't necessarily true because at one time, and in the heat of the moment, it's hard to remember that at one time you loved this person and that there is still a connection of love because it's always there because we are all related from that one thing being the universe, the thing itself, the it of all the its. Okay, so we are have that connection. But in the middle of this human ego experience, we can become bottles of blown up spaghetti sauce. And it might take days, it might take years, it might take to the point where you're carrying this this messy experience this in your life that people have passed, and the only way to clear it is up is to forgive yourself. And so you can say you're sorry. I saw yesterday somebody said, I'm sorry for the way that that made you, of what I said made you feel. And somebody's like, you know, no, that's not taking responsibility for truly saying sorry for something that you inflicted upon another. And some can say, or growing up, I was always told, the only one that can make yourself feel unworthy is yourself, which is a lot to say to a 7-year-old, but that's another talk. So you can start out with, and I did this with my daughter's father. I am sorry for blah, fill in the blank. I am sorry. Please forgive me. And the piece that I've learned in the last, I don't know, 6 years is asking the person who feels harmed by you, how can I mend it with you? How can I mend this so we can carry on? Or how can I mend this so we're no longer carrying the baggage? Because it's not necessarily you're always wanting to mend it to carry on. But how can I mend this to make it right? To right my wrong. So that's the cleanup. That's the cleanup of life. And I think that we sometimes in the excitement, the adrenaline, the negativity, the hate, that we forget about the love part, that we forget that this is another human being, regardless of the situation. So, how to move through that at a higher consciousness. So just like Ernest said, that love prevails. How do we do that? And sometimes I find that by just listening and having stuff irritate me that another human being is saying to me, but the person that is speaking believes it to be true, that I go back to that old adage of pick your battles. Pick your battles so you're not always in a war. Okay. I want to love more and hate less. I want to release the hate that's in my life. When we carry around hate and we carry around this bondage, and we've bonded, our body is just locked, literally locked up, and we can't move, that breeds disease. That breeds disease, and we're the ones individually hanging on to it. Sorry about all the dog barking, but this is the way life is on a Sunday morning in my neighborhood. Okay, so what I was saying is that the hate manifests itself as disease in our body and play or fear in our body. And when we hang on to it, it even goes into the cells of our body, and that's when it starts to uh, breed unhealthiness. So the goal here is to be respectful, be kind, be loving, and in those places where things enrage you or that you are still harboring hate, counteract it with love. Let the love, that golden elixir of love, smother the hate. We want it smothered. We want it to go away and let love be the answer. So how do we do this? Jesus going to the Bible and talking about Jesus today. So in Matthew 18, 21 and 22, this is what was spoken. Then Peter came up and said to him, "My Lord, if my brother is at fault with me, how many times should I forgive him? Up to 7 times?" And Jesus said to him, "I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 77. 70 times, 70 times 77. Okay. 70 times 7. I'm reading too many sevens. 70 times 7. And I kind of, in my own interpretation of that, is for for Peter to say, "Oh, can I do it 7 times? Will that release and forgive that 7 times?" And at times, I think that Jesus, you know, seven's not enough. So let's try 70 times 7. So doing a practice for 7 days, but doing 70 each day. And I think that's a way of saying that, you know, it's more than quantity, it's also quality. And to be in the practice, to be in that rhythm of 70 times, there is something that happens chemically in our body and it begins to release chemicals, and something miraculous happens. And I'm sure we can go to the scientists and they can tell exactly what's happening with our body. And I can look it up later today to tell you down the road. But something happens, and I've used it before in my life and I know it works. So the practice for the week is to work on forgiveness. And forgiveness is an interesting thing. Forgiveness, I find, for myself to forgive someone else is much easier than forgiving myself. Okay. So I always start with forgiving someone else, and then I work in forgiving myself, because I am not the exception here, that carrying that weight of what I did to somebody when I was 9 years old doesn't seem like to most people that it was a big thing, but I'm storing it in my body and it's time to release it. It's time for me at 9 years old to release the fact that I was a bully. Period. releasing the fact that I was a bully. And doing the practice, again, like I said, releases something. So I don't know, 12 years ago, when I got involved with Science of Mind, and we were working on forgiveness practices. And, at the time, it's like, wow, I have a lot of forgiving of myself throughout my life. And I didn't know how to string a necklace of beads. It was not my wheelhouse. So a friend that was in the class said, "Hey, if you get the beads, I'll string you um, 70 beads." So me being the person that loves color and feeling like I needed to release and forgive the skeletons in my life, these are my beads. These are my beads. There's little skulls of all different colors, and it's just fun. It's not something that, I wear out in public. I probably could do it now because we're in Halloween season. But it is bead strung, and there are 70 of them. So I start the practice up at the top because that's kind of my counter. And I, you can say, I'm just going to use the Ho'oponopono. I am sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And then I move one beat over. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I move second beat over. And while I'm doing this, I'm sitting somewhere or I'm walking down the street saying the words in my head, but using this as my counter. And when I get over to the other side of this knot, I know that I've done 70. Okay. Because it's a bead, it's a necklace of 70. And to do this practice can change your life. Doing this practice can free yourself up, like Ernest Holmes was saying, with the love. It can free up the bondage that has you imprisoned for years and years and years, and you might have not even known that. So allow yourself to forgive others. Allow yourself to forgive you. And continue to do the practice just like Jesus said, 7 times 70. And if you still don't feel a release, pick it up and do another one. So that's cleaning up aisle 3. Cleaning up aisle 3, cleaning up that spaghetti sauce, and also forgiving ourselves for dropping the sauce to begin with. For dropping the sauce, for treating someone unkindly, and letting my dogs bark. Anyway, so we're going to wrap this up for today. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for your continued support of the Camarillo Center for Spiritual Living. And until next time, love ya. Okay, we're going to go into prayer. We're going to go into prayer, and I'm actually going to pause. Okay, so let's go into prayer. Let's put our feet on the ground. Close your eyes or leave your eyes open. Prayer works either way. Oh, I'm so grateful to be right here, right now, present in this now moment. This now moment to recognize that my life is fueled by spirit. It is fueled by spirit because there is nothing else. And that each and every human, plant, animal on this planet is part from that same one thing. So I am in partnership. I am in community with my brothers, sisters, and siblings. I'm so thankful to know that. I am so thankful to have the strength, the wisdom, the love, and to know the law of the universe. I take that, I absorb that, I speak it, I be it, I am it, and my life is more abundant. My life is the adventure that I always dreamed of doing. I am fulfilling that and being that now. There's no time to continue to wait. It's time to do it now. So I know for each and every person here that our relationships are abundant, that we put out what we want to receive back. So I am loving and kind, and I receive back loving and kindness everywhere and in every moment of every day. And I know that my needs are met right here and right now. That right here and right now in this breath, there is nothing needed except for this breath. And knowing that all is well in my life. And for our body temples, we're knowing that they are working in divine right order. So as it continues to age, it continues to have glitches, that our bodies find new ways to continue to move forward. And that might look like a pill from a doctor, but right here speaking, that too is God. So it's all good. It's all law and all love. And for that, we just release this into the law because the universe says yes. And together we say, and so it is.